Picture a busy bank advisor fielding hundreds of client questions every single day. Some questions are about super complex investment products, while others are about constantly shifting regulatory compliance. Scripting out a manual, rigid dialogue tree for every single possible variation, well, that's just completely unsustainable. And that is exactly why we need automated, AI-powered knowledge retrieval. We need a way for the AI to dynamically synthesize answers on the fly from our existing databases, allowing us to focus on what the agent should know rather than every single conversation branch it might follow. So let's look at exactly how we build this for your exam. Here is our roadmap for the AB 620 exam today. We're going to cover generative answers versus custom prompts, adding generative answers nodes, connecting custom knowledge sources, shaping AI output, authoring custom prompts, and finally, selecting the right model. Let's jump right into our first core concept.
Part 1. Generative answers versus custom prompts.
Think of the AI inside Copilot Studio like two completely different types of employees. Generative answers is like your researcher. You ask a question, and the researcher searches through a defined library of approved documents to synthesize an answer. It's essentially asking, hey, what does our content actually say about this? On the flip side, custom prompts operate a bit more like a highly skilled data entry clerk or an analyst. You don't ask it to go search. Instead, you hand it a specific document and give it a structured reasoning task, something like, classify this document. It asks, what specific task should I perform? For the AB 620 exam, you absolutely must be able to distinguish between knowledge synthesis, which needs sources, and structured reasoning, which relies on specific task instructions. Now that we've got that difference nailed down, let's see how we actually build that researcher.
Part 2. Adding generative answers nodes.
In simple terms, think of the generative answers node kind of like bringing an expert consultant into a meeting at a very specific moment. Technically speaking, this node lives right on the topic canvas in Copilot Studio. You place it precisely where you want knowledge retrieval to occur within a known conversational flow. Now here's a really common exam pitfall, confusing this with the generic conversational boosting fallback topic. Fallback happens at the agent level when the system literally doesn't know what else to do. But a generative answers node, that is totally intentional. You place it after a specific condition, like maybe confirming a client is a premium member, so the AI retrieves knowledge exactly when it's supposed to. But what happens if this node conflicts with the rest of your agent's knowledge?
Imagine a highly specialized library tucked away inside a massive university. If you configure knowledge sources directly at the node level, say pointing it only to a SharePoint site specifically for premium products, those node sources take absolute priority. It's like locking the door to the rest of the university library. So here is a massive AB 620 exam tip you've got to remember. Node-level sources override agent-level sources, period. If the node searches its specific sources and finds nothing, it will simply return no information found. It does not automatically fall back to the agent's general sources or its AI general knowledge unless you explicitly check the box to include AI general knowledge. Okay, but what if your data isn't sitting neatly in a SharePoint folder?
Part 3. Connecting custom knowledge sources.
We all know not all data is in a neat little Word document. Imagine a bank's compliance department where regulatory rules are updating daily in a proprietary API. We can't just upload static documents for that. We need a live pipeline. First, we use an HTTP request or a Power Automate flow to call that proprietary database. Then we parse that raw JSON response and format it into a specific topic variable. Finally, we feed that formatted variable straight into the custom data field of our generative answers node. However, there's a catch. This custom data has to be formatted absolutely flawlessly. I really want you to mentally highlight this table for the AB 620 exam. When you pipe that custom data into the generative answers node, it must be perfectly reshaped into a PowerFX table containing exactly these three columns: content, content location, and title. Now, only the content column is strictly required. But here is the major technical gotcha. The node will only process the first 3 records in this table. If your API returns 50 new regulations, it ignores 47 of them. It relies entirely on positional selection, not relevance. Therefore, your HTTP request or your flow must logically filter and rank the top 3 results before returning them to the node. Okay, once we have the right data flowing in, we have to teach the AI how to actually talk.
Part 4. Shaping output with instructions. Just like any major company has a strict corporate communications policy, your AI needs one too. We provide this policy through custom instructions, which you enter directly into the data source panel of the node. These lightweight instructions govern 3 absolutely critical areas: tone,
format, and scope. Tone dictates how the AI sounds. Is it formal or is it empathetic? Format dictates the layout. Does it use prose or numbered steps? And scope? Well, scope is arguably the most vital for compliance. Scope explicitly restricts the AI from speculating beyond the provided knowledge sources, shutting down the risk of the model creating uncited claims. But to make this actually work, you have to speak the AI's language. The mechanism happening behind the scenes here is fascinating. The AI takes her instruction, drafts an answer, checks its own draft against the instruction, and then outputs it. But this only works if your instruction commands specific observable behaviors. A really common exam pitfall is writing vague instructions like "be helpful." The AI cannot independently measure what helpful means. Instead, you must write observable constraints. Think along the lines of respond using a formal tone, use bullet points, do not speculate. Boom! Now the AI has a concrete checklist to fix its draft and produce the correct output. All right, next let's look at completely independent AI tasks. Part 5, Authoring Custom AI Prompts. If generative answers is our research library, then the prompt builder is your assembly line factory. Prompt Builder is a dedicated environment inside Copilot Studio where you author, test, and save structured, custom AI prompts. These become reusable tools available across all your agents and workflows. Here, the AI is completely independent of knowledge retrieval. You are explicitly telling it what to do with the data you hand it. For example, analyzing a legal agreement clause and classifying it as standard or flagged. You write the instructions, you establish the rules, and you save it as a distinct tool. Let's look at how a topic actually uses this tool in practice. The really crucial point here is how a topic actually talks to a custom prompt tool using dynamic inputs. In your topic, you take a variable containing the user's text. Let's call it the clause text input, and you map it directly into the prompt's input parameters. The AI applies its structured reasoning, and it spits out an output variable, something like classification result. Here is the critical architectural step you need to know for the exam. You must take that output variable and route it through a condition node on your canvas. If the output says flagged, it routes over to human review. If it says standard, it routes to automated approval. Simple, right? Now, what engine is actually driving all this reasoning? Part 6, Selecting the right model. Think of this a bit like fleet management. You wouldn't use a massive 18-wheeler freight truck just to deliver a single pizza, right? Microsoft gives you 3 managed model categories: Mini, General, and Deep. Mini models, like GPT 4.1 Mini, are incredibly cost-effective and lightning fast, perfect for basic classification tasks, and they're billed at a basic Copilot credit rate. General models offer better performance for more complex tasks, billed at the standard rate. And deep models? Those handle the heavy lifting, reasoning-intensive tasks like nuanced decision-making, billed at the premium rate. You absolutely must match the model's horsepower to the complexity of the task at hand. But what if Microsoft's default models just don't fit your exact use case? That is where Microsoft Foundry comes in. You can actually connect your prompt directly to an external Foundry model like Llama or DeepSeek. For the exam, please note 2 really strict requirements here. First, you have to provide the exact model deployment name and base model name from your Foundry resource. You can't just guess. Second, because you are sending data out to an external model, this connection falls squarely under Power Platform Data Loss Prevention, or DLP policies. Your Power Platform administrator is going to govern exactly which models you are allowed to connect to. Let's tie all this together. I want to leave you with this somewhat provocative question. Are you controlling what your AI knows or what your AI does? Honestly, mastering the AB 620 exam comes down to this ultimate distinction. When you need to control what the AI knows, you use generative answers to synthesize knowledge from targeted, prioritized sources. But when you need to control what the AI does, you use custom prompts to execute specific, structured reasoning tasks. Keep this logic crystal clear in your mind, and you are absolutely going to crush those exam objectives.